I'd like to call to order the meeting of the St. Mary's County Board of Education for Wednesday, August 10th, 2016. May I have a motion to move to executive session?
I move the board enter into executive session for the purpose of personnel, collective bargaining or legal, property acquisition issues, and student issues under Maryland Local Government Code Article Section 9-512A, numbers 1, 2, 6, and 10.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, ready to go. There's your thing on. Kathy, I don't think. All right, I'd like to reconvene the St. Mary's County Board of Education meeting for Wednesday, August 10th, 2016, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes,
I'm like, I know, well, it has been. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm still on vacation mode.
That's all right.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, board reports. Roma, you're first.
All right. So in the month of July, like Ms. Washington had said, I got the chance to go visit the Judy Center program at Lexington Park. I got a chance to volunteer and just observe what was going on. And I had a great time. I've gone to the program for 2 years now. And I love seeing the kids very engaged in what they're doing. It doesn't matter what they were doing. Sometimes they did sports to get a little movement in them. Sometimes the police officers would come and talk about bike safety. But what was great is that every time they left, they would leave with something. Either it was a material thing or it was immaterial. And what was great about it was that no matter how small of an activity there was, all of the teachers and all of the administrators there who were helping out made sure that the kids were understanding that you can take away, any lesson, any not life lesson maybe, but any real world experience from even things you do with kids in a school. So that was great. And then also over the month of July, I've been working with Dr. Marr, Dr. Wyan, Mr. Wyan, and Mr. Smith to further this culture around school. And mainly we've been focusing on how we're going to get students a little bit out of their shell, in the sense that a lot of times in school when we sit down through the whole classroom day, we're very cooped up. And the thing that happens is over time that really builds up. And mental stress is a big thing for kids, no matter if it's academic or sports related. Someone has stress coming in from very many different outputs. So over the course of July and August, we've been working with kids, and we're going to start working with more kids as school begins to focus on how we're going to implement some programs in the school to change this mental stress issue.
Mm-hmm. So this past few weeks, I did numerous things, but one of the things that I really enjoyed was going to St. Mary's College to the concert. The board was invited. Mary and I had the opportunity to go and to listen to some wonderful music. But beforehand, they had a meet and greet, and we got the opportunity to meet some of the staff at St. Mary's College, along with Tawanda Jordan, who is the president of the college. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And just to, make some connections, I did get to speak with Lawrence McCurtain, or Larry. He's the development officer of gifting, but it was a great connection there just to find out a little bit about what he does for the college, and also talking with him and some of the other staff there, maybe some great opportunities that lie there for our students, and maybe how we could partner with them to provide opportunities for those that are in high school and getting ready to look for a college. It's a great gem right here. Student could stay at home and take classes. So just different things, great connections, and wonderful music and great company. And I had, got to speak with Mary and her husband and, some other people there. So that was it.
Mr. Carney?
I have no report today.
We've been on vacation, running back and forth all over the place. But I would like to welcome back the charter school. Today is their first day. So hope everyone got there safely, found their classrooms, and standing tall and ready to learn. So, Mrs. Washington?
I've been having a wonderful time visiting the summer learning opportunities for students. Our schools never close, and there are always learning opportunities for students. I visited the Lunch and Learn program, Title I program, Camp Horizon, and one church had a summer reading academy, and I was the guest speaker there, encouraging students to do their best during the school year and every day, to exercise good character, to come to school prepared, and all the things that parents tell their children. I was just reinforcing those things. Also, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Charles Ridgel, who wrote a wonderful letter to the Enterprise newspaper talking about our shoe fund. Many of our needy students do not have appropriate shoes to wear to school, and we have a fund. So everybody out in the viewing audience, if you want to give, 100% of the money that you give will go toward purchasing shoes for students throughout the year. Also, if you want to bring a check to Moakley Street, you can bring it to Mr. Smith or Dr. Ridgel. Bring your camera. You can have your photograph taken with him. Call first, and you can bring your check. I already have somebody. Or if you're camera shy, you can just put your check in the mail to the Moakley Street office, to the superintendent's office, and 100% of that money will go toward buying shoes for students. Also, for our employees in the school system, we can donate to the shoe fund through our payroll deduction. And even if you give $5 a pay period with all the employees that we have, it will make a tremendous difference. You can give 5, 10, 25, whatever you want to give, and it will help a student with appropriate shoes. We know how we are if our feet hurt. Can you imagine a student sitting in a classroom and try to learn? Their shoes are too tight, or they're too big, or they're just very uncomfortable. So we do everything we can to make it pleasant for our students so they can be ready to learn. Also, I want to thank all the agencies and community organizations, businesses, faith-based organizations who are having school supply drives. I thank you very much for doing that. We see signs on the marquees in the community that says this is a drop-off place for school supplies. I was reading an article where an average teacher spends about $1,000 out of their pocket per year for school supplies for students. And this would help our teachers immensely. If you can donate school supplies, you can bring them to Moakley Street again, or you can use one of the drop-off places. Walmart has a Stuff the Bus. Various locations throughout the community. I want to thank the faith-based community also. They're having back-to-school events at their places of worship. Not only are they giving school supplies to students, but they're also talking to the students about exercising good behavior, setting high expectations, also character development, and doing your best every day. Many of the clergy visit the schools, and I'm sure the students don't want to see their priest or pastor in the school if they are not behaving. They want him or her to see them on their good behavior. So I want to thank them for that, and they give backpacks, and they also help. We can't do it all, so we need all the help we can get, so our students will be mentally, physically
prepared for school with the supplies that they need. And I recognize this is a giving county. All you need to do is put out the word of what our needs are, and they are willing to help. And also, when our student board member was talking about mental stress, I attended St. Mary's College of Maryland, where they had the gathering, and part of that program in the summer was for students to express themselves in a creative way. They did it through art, they did it through dance, drama, and creative writing. And from the creative writing and the dance, I learned that students are stressed with the things that are going on in the world that is really having an impact on them, what we as adults are doing. So you are right on about the mental stress. That is important. This program was wonderful because it helped the students to have a socially acceptable outlet and a venture for expressing those feelings that they have inside, so they get them out and not express them in an inappropriate manner. So thanks again to everyone that's helping us. I, along with the board and the superintendent and the teachers and everybody, appreciate what everybody's doing to help our students get prepared for school. Thank you very much.
You mentioned Dr. Jordan, who's the president of St. Mary's College of Maryland. She actually will be one of the keynote speakers for the MABE Fall Conference that some of us will be attending coming up.
Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm. Over the last few weeks, I've been out in the community at a variety of functions, and I was really struck by the fact that on 2 occasions I had family members who have children in our Head Start program make a point of coming to talk to me about the Head Start program and what a difference in the lives of their children that program has made. And they really spoke very highly of the teachers and the work being done there. And the folks that I talked to really spoke to the fact that they had been extremely concerned about their children and about how their children were not reaching the milestones in education, even at a young age, that they knew that they should have been, and that this resource had made such an impact. Even in just a few short months, they could see a huge change in their children, and they really wanted to take the time to let me know just how great an impact, a positive impact, that program had had on their children, and really urged that we work to continue. So I was pleased to be able to share with them how we had come to pick that program up through a grant, and that you know, every indicator was that it is doing quite well for our students, and that it's one of a number of early childhood education programs that are available through our school system, and how glad I was that their children were so successful, and just wish them the best. So thank you to all of the teachers and the staff who participate in that program, because it is making obviously a profound difference in the lives of these children, because the places where I was, they were not school board events, they were not school system events, but the folks took the time to seek me out and to really talk about it. So thanks very much. Mm-hmm.
Well, July is over. We did do a whole bunch of things. We have had fun in our summer learning programs, and kids have been engaged. Last week, August began, and so all of our 11-month employees came back into the building, and we're doing all of our registration for kids to come back to our schools. Please, I can't encourage you enough. If you have a kindergarten-age child, they should be already registered for school, and if they're not, please go out and do that immediately. We are doing roundups as well to encourage people to come in and get their children registered. This week we started with welcoming back all of our administrators. Our ANS opening event was yesterday, and it continues today, where we are welcoming back our 130-some administrators across the system. We have 36 people new to positions, and we were welcoming them and getting them all oriented. Next week, the excitement really, so it builds in August. It builds, everybody comes back August 1st, yay. ANS opens the next week, yay. Next Monday, all of our new teachers descend and come into the county, over 100 teachers. We're going to orient them and welcome them and feed them.
Bright and early at 8 a.m.
Bright and early, get them ready for those early start times every single day, so they're there with big smiles on their faces and ready to welcome children. All of our teachers come back Thursday, the August 18th, and then the following week on Wednesday, the 24th,
Dun, 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 dun.
schools open. We've been doing a lot of work. We've been building and polishing and organizing, and we are really, really ready for kids to come back to school. And all the way back to Mrs. Weaver's point with St. Mary's College and the College of Southern Maryland, we really are we are really blessed to have such fantastic anchoring higher education organizations to work with our staff and our stakeholders in our community and our children. The gathering, one of the elements of the gathering that Mrs. Washington and I had the pleasure of attending on Friday is Leslie Moore is working with Masters of Arts teaching students who are coordinating all of that. So we really are kind of fine-tuning that pipeline of getting people into the system and working with our kids. So everybody be ready. Everybody be on time. Summer is, let's just call it. Summer's over. It's ready to start the school year. Let's get rolling. And I can't
Do
wait
not have
to,
school supplies yet. No.
All right. Well, we're obviously working on school supplies
And shoes.
and shoes. Also for shoes, you can, if you go right to our website, www.smcps.org, right in the scroll, there's a big donate button for the shoe fund, and you can donate directly online as well as bringing a check. If you do bring a check, you can take a picture with me. I don't know what that's worth, but you can do that. But you can also donate online.
That's
so
wonderful.
we're ready to go, and can't wait to have you all come back.
Okay. With that, public comment? Anyone? None. Okay. Consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
Now, can I just say something about the consent agenda? One of the things was the,
The J policies?
nope,
Okay.
wait a minute, the Spring
Space
Ridge
camp?
Middle School
Oh.
Space Camp trip. I did present some questions to Mr. Smith, and thank you, Ms. Montgomery, for answering, going out and getting all those answers, because as people may remember, last year there was a little snag, and because of the weather and delay in our students coming back, and I just wanted to make sure that we had everything in place. She did send it to all the board members so that we all had an opportunity to review what the plans are, just in case something goes awry, and they do have it very well under control, very thought out, so that our students are safe and have a good time.
And I will just add on the J policies, the only change that was made was on a title. Don't anyone panic. There's nothing on due process that we're
Nope.
changing.
And it's-
It is simply a title change based on the,
It's
Go
a
ahead.
position
and
title
title change,
change,
yes.
because when I saw title change, I thought, are we renaming the
No.
policy?
no,
So
so,
it's
right,
just-
it's
it's
a
just
position
position
title
title
change within the school system.
Correct.
We struck the word assistant and put in the word deputy, so no one panic. Okay. And with that, now, Mrs. Fowler.
Calm, cool, and collected.
Just so we don't have emails.
Uh-oh.
I did it again. Anybody?
That's why Mr. Howard's here. He knew to be here today.
We need to get a new control that has like a big mute button, Because I always hit the wrong button too. I put my
Duct tape it, do not touch.
It's okay.
There we go. Good morning, Mrs. Bailey, Mrs. Washington, board members, and Mr. Smith. I am here today to recommend to the board the contract for Goalbook Toolkit and Pathways. And we just want to do a little bit of review for you for Toolkit. This is the 4th year that our teachers will be using Goalbook Toolkit to develop IEP goals and objectives. It has been an excellent tool used by our special education teachers. The goals from which they can select are aligned to the college and career ready standards, which is awesome. And the repository, as you can see, is broad and deep, which our teachers really appreciate. The goals come in multiple levels of support and guide the teachers towards scaffolded instruction, which also is very helpful. There is a wide range of instructional strategies also included in the compendium. So we really like Toolkit. It's been awesome. And now the company has designed resources to go with the goals and objectives and strategies. So Pathways offers reading, math primarily, and then a full range of behavior strategies and resources and products for teachers to use. So the resources are differentiated at the 3 levels of rigor. So recall, which is the lowest level, and then focused on developing skills and concepts, and then focused on developing strategic thinking. So just as in our general education program, we want to be focused on teaching children to think and problem solve. We also want to be doing that with our children who have special needs. The I can statements express a clear learning target to which the resources are targeted, and there's just a wide variety of response types. So children with special needs typically will respond better in some ways than others, and this allows teachers to select resources according to response modes. A really nice feature is that model responses are included. So before the lesson begins, the teacher has an idea of what a good one looks like from student response. For example, in reading, the reading passages come at a variety of levels, differentiated according to the difficulty. The Lexile level is the difficulty level of reading, the length of the passage, and the passages can be printed or they can be projected onto a screen. So it offers a lot of flexibility for teachers to direct the learning either to individuals or small groups or an entire classroom. A great feature of Pathways is that it is not just targeted for children with special needs. It accommodates those, but it is really targeted to whole group and small group, allowing the inclusion of children with special needs into lessons for an entire group. We believe, and as a system, are working toward developing a continuum of learning that includes children in general education and children who are receiving special services along a continuum. And this product is very helpful to us in that it can be made available to general educators as well as special educators. We are recommending the purchase of enough licenses to include our instructional resource teachers as well as our special education teachers. And in that way, we want to make the resource available to students in the general education classroom, but also those children who are requiring intervention, not yet an IEP, because we're hoping to prevent the need for that through targeted intervention with the support of Pathways. Teachers can browse for these resources in a variety of ways. topics and skills standard. There are fabulous mini projects which encourage creative thinking and problem solving, and a variety of assessment items which teachers will find very helpful. So the action that we are recommending and requesting is that goal book, toolkit, pathways, and training be purchased for this school year in the amount of $129,062.50.
Do you have any questions? Mrs. Weaver?
First, thank you for providing an example for Mr. Smith to send to the board.
Sure.
Okay, because that was, I wanted to understand
Sure.
what you were purchasing. So the software, when a teacher uses it, does it keep track, like say if she has a student, does it keep track of where they are in their learning and objectives?
That's a great question. And no, it doesn't. The teacher is doing that manually. There's not a repository in the software for that.
Okay. And then the other thing too is for a student's IEP, do they have this down as one of the, not the goal, but like, you know, the intervention saying, you know, the teacher will use this program or this certain?
No, because we wouldn't want to limit the teacher to any one set of resources because
Okay.
they have a whole variety of resources.
Okay. Is there any way in the future to be able to, so that the teachers don't have to manually go back after a student is successful in a certain area on this program to say that they're, you know, like there's some way to keep track of where they're at and what works?
We're working, we provide feedback. One of the reasons I think you saw in the official board doc that we have a discount on this product because we were an early accessor, if you will. And so they ask us for feedback, and we provide feedback on a regular basis. They are continuing to add to this on a regular basis. One of the issues, of course, with putting confidential information into a piece of software is confidentiality. So I don't know that that would be a possibility, but we could certainly explore that, you know, with the company and thinking about FERPA issues and that sort of thing.
The only question I had, how many total licenses will this give us?
330.
3? Wow. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have two questions. Well, is it, and I assume there's not a parent component to this at all, or
There is not.
so there's no resource for the parent to
Correct.
to monitor that. Okay, and then I am very encouraged that the IRTs are also going to have access to this. Going back to your point about, you know, that everyone can use it because you know most of the children who have IEPs are in regular classes. So I think some of the things that might be contained in there would help the whole class and not just individual students.
May I
as
just
well.
add to that, too? The other thing is because of the differentiated resources and particularly the mini projects, special education teachers now have a really great product that they can share with their general education co-teachers. And those can be used with an entire class. Providing access for the children with special needs. They can just have a differentiated
Project.
Yeah, project or reading passage or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's great because you don't have that separation so much.
Correct.
That a child would see. You know,
Well,
well,
and-
they're
yeah,
doing this,
and-
but I'm doing this.
And
So.
teachers are doing this on a regular basis. They are differentiating. They are providing differentiated instruction in classrooms. There's a lot of back work behind that they have to do in order to come up with those resources. The company has done that for them with pathways, thus allowing them to direct their time and attention in other ways, which I think will be very beneficial.
Great, thank you. Great presentation. Thank you, Mrs. Washington.
Thank you. this program has been basically tested because you've been using it for 4 years and it's been successful. It is, some of the key components are, it's aligned to the college and career readiness standards. You have multiple layers of support. You have many instructional strategies because students are on different levels. And the behavior strategies, I think, are really good because students are at different places in their behavior as well. And you have different kind of response types. Some kids may be better with this response or that response or another. And the good thing is appropriate for all age groups, not just our special education students, but our regular education students as well. And it can work with small groups or larger groups. So it meets a lot of the criteria that will work well with not only special ed, but all of our students. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Allen?
As you were considering whether or not to request some additional, not additional resources, but to renew this license, basically, what kind of feedback, how did you elicit feedback from special ed teachers across the system?
For Pathways, because the Pathways portion is the new product. The
Right.
Goal Book is proven, and there's been great feedback from teachers through the year. There were 7 teachers who piloted Pathways and had a very positive response to it. And they were included, the link that you got was for the webinar that a number of our staff members participated in, and so some of the pilot teachers were a part of that webinar. So their input was solicited. This will be, Pathways will be new to all of our other teachers for this coming year. So we have some training to do.
And those 7 teachers that piloted it, were they spread across elementary, middle, and high school?
That's
or?
such a great question. I think so.
Okay.
That started before I really got involved, but I think that is accurate.
7 different sites.
So 7 different
These
sites?
The different
Very,
sites, right.
very good, very good. Thank you. I appreciate the information, and so thank you for bringing this forward.
Anyone else? Okay. With that, do I have a motion for this action item?
I move that
Anyone?
the Board of Education approve the contract with Goal Book for Goal Book Toolkit and Pathways Special Education Department full membership, including ongoing training and support and program evaluation, as well as membership for instructional resource teachers for an annual total of $129,062.50 as funding permits.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, thank you.
Sorry, I was just trying to give everybody else a chance.
You guys are all giving Mrs. Fowler a heart attack. Oh, no. Great presentation, but you know what? No. Okay, Mr. Hartwick.
Trying to share the wealth.
All right. Good morning, board members.
Good morning.
This action item is an unusual action item for us in that it involves a contractor who was awarded a contract, have not responded to the contract award and the required documents at this stage. So we are going to be asking you to award to the second lowest bidder for the Phase 3 erosion repairs at Esperanza Middle School. So by way of background, the original contract was awarded to SGX Incorporated, based in Frederick, Maryland, on June 8, 2016, in the amount of $48,700. Since that award, they have not responded to numerous phone calls, both to the office and personal cell phone. They have not responded to emails, and most importantly, they have not responded to a formal notice of award that establishes what are the contract requirements for the award. Specifically, the awardee is required to return an executed contract and certificate of insurance within 10 days of the notice of award. That notice of award was actually delivered on June 16, 2016. We have proof of that. So to date, and I mean to date, we've received no contract or certificate of insurance from SGX Incorporated. The pertinent language in our documents, our big documents, is in section E, and it says failure on the part of the contractor to execute and deliver the executed contract, and the performance and payment bonds if required. And in this case, it was under $50,000, so those bonds were not required. Within 10 days after date of the notice of award shall be just cause for annulment of the award. Award may then be made to the next lowest responsive and responsible bidder, or all bids may be rejected and the contract re-advertised. So our recommendation, our desire, obviously, is to get this work underway and not rebid it. Chapelier Farms LLC, they're based in Charles County, was the second lowest bidder. Their bid met all the bid requirements at the time of bid. We have talked to Chapelier Farms, and they have confirmed their price. They've confirmed their willingness to do the work. And so this gives table gives you the order of the original bid amount, and you can see there's a significant amount difference between Chapelier Farms LLC and Locust Lane Farms LLC. I will say Chapelier Farms started this type of work in 2008. They do about $500,000 a year. Locust Lane Farms, much larger firm, as well as Earnshaw and Rainbow Construction. So originally, as we discussed this, our intent was to bring it to your July 13th meeting. When we were talking at that time, Chapelier Farms had taken on several jobs. And so they were not, at that time, ready to start immediately. We had to postpone that presentation in July because of the change of the board date and my own personal schedule. So originally we were talking about finding a date in the fall and having all that work done before March 20th, 2017, because we wanted the stabilization to take place in the springtime. And just as a reminder, Phase 3 does have temporary erosion control in place now, and so we're protecting that area from further erosion. Since July, and we had a conversation earlier this week, they have finished up their work with DNR, and they're in a position to start immediately, which would be terrific if they could start and get mobilized and the work segregated before students arrive on August 24th. We did check with some of their previous clients. The major one for them is Aggregate Industries. They've done a number of jobs for them, both at their corporate yard in Greenbelt and at other locations, and has satisfactorily performed that work. So where does this leave us in terms of the overall project funding and available balance? The original fund balance was just over $780,000. To date, we've spent just over $92,000 on design and testing, and phases 1 and 2 amounted to just over $378,000. So for this phase 3, the cost is just under $50,000. We're going to ask for a construction contingency of $15,000, which is the amount that you all approved was the original contract, no change there. So assuming that we do use a full contingency, which we generally don't, we would be at a total of about $536,000, leaving a sizable fund balance at the end of this phase. So our recommendation to you is to annul the contract award for the Phase 3 permanent erosion repairs at Esperanza to SGX and approve the contract award to the next lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Chapelier Farms, LLC, in the amount of $49,999, and further approve and authorize a construction contingency of $15,000. Take your question.
Mrs. Weaver?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Carney?
You answered the two questions I had. One was I knew no bids have a life, and I was wondering if they had called back. You had called back and you said you have, and the price is still good. And the other was if this happened in June, why didn't we do something in July? You answered my question there.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. I will add that we generally stipulate that the bid be held for 120 days.
I have no questions, thank you.
How unusual is it for a company not to comply?
It's the first time in my
Respond.
30 years of doing
How many-
educational design and construction. So, I mean,
And
it's
you
very
did-
rare.
Yeah, you did everything in your power. You made sure they got the notice and the documents, and still no reply. So you had to do what you had to do and move to the next phase.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any idea why there was no response?
I have no idea.
And remind me, generally when we talk about these, we talk about what you know of either our system's experience with a contractor or someone else. And so remind us what we knew about them.
Yeah, we did contact the National Capital Planning Commission because they had done a job approaching $1 million for them, and the project manager for that project gave good recommendations originally. And when I went back to him and saying we're having difficulty getting a hold of SGX, he basically responded, "That's completely out of character." So I really don't know what's going on. It'd be pure speculation.
And I know that these bids were put out through eMaryland Marketplace originally. Is there any provision within eMaryland Marketplace for you to go, or us as a system, to go back to them to indicate that that we did award a bid to them and that they were completely unresponsive to it? I mean, I wouldn't. Granted, we don't know what's going on, and it is highly unusual, but at the same time, I wouldn't want another entity to try to contract with them and then wind up having this same thing happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, we generally use eMaryland Marketplace as kind of an electronic portal.
Right.
We don't do the actual bidding there, but we do indicate the bid results. I think we could word it that this is a second award.
I mean, I would, and perhaps that's a conversation to have with Vicki Mail, but I would not like to see another organization go through this, especially if they have a project that's either time critical or one that is in ours is a stabilization issue, and so it is very unusual. But I think we probably need to at least have a conversation about what's an appropriate next step from there. But those are my only questions. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, do I have a motion for this action item?
I move that the Board of Education annul the contract award for Phase 3 permanent erosion repairs for Esperanza Middle School to SGX Incorporated and approve the contract award to the next lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Chapelier Farms LLC, in the amount of $49,999. The Board of Education further authorizes a construction contingency of $15,000 for the project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
Good morning, board members.
Bus
Good morning.
contracts, one of the most popular people leading up to school. So those bus routes are going out.
Busy time of year. Yeah, so today I am here to talk about the bus contracts and the spare bus agreements for this coming school year. I would like to take a moment, though, to mention an item. Just this past weekend, Miss Mary Louise Barber and also Miss Audrey Aud. Audrey Aud served 30 years as a bus contractor and bus driver, and Miss Barber served 45 years as a school bus driver for our system. Both passed away. They are passionate about transporting students and loved our kids. And, you know, we appreciate their service and their many years that they served for us, and we send our condolences to their families. So I wanted to just pass that along. So today I'm here to speak about the school bus contracts and the spare bus agreements for the coming school year. So right now we have 42 school bus contractors, and our contractors provide 163 regular route school buses, 26 special needs route school buses, 59 regular route spare buses that we have, and then 6 special needs route spare buses, which those are buses that have lifts, wheelchair lifts. So the bus contracts to be approved this year, we have 15 replacement school buses. So the school buses that have come to the end of your 12 years, and we turn those over into new contracts and they're replaced with brand new school buses. 13 6-year contracts that have come to the end of their first 6 years and move on to their second 6 years. We have 2 new special needs bus contracts, which were in the budget, and we've issued those out, and that's part of the 26 that I mentioned before. 65 spare bus agreements that will be going out, and those are 1-year contracts, and then 4 contracts were transferred from one contractor to another contractor. So formula changes, these are the payment changes for our bus contractors this school year. So we're increasing the per vehicle allotment of $444 for regular school buses, and an increase of $605 per year for the special needs school buses. And those are all based upon the prices of the buses themselves and an interest rate that determines. That's a formula that determines those increases. And these are only applicable to the brand new buses. The hourly payments, there's an increase of 2%, which is approximately 40 cents. It's actually in like the 31 to 35 cent range, depending on what tier the drivers fall into, or that falls into. And the total increase is approximately $96,585. There's also a stipend increase in the formula for bus supplies of $30 per bus. So that comes into slightly under $6,000 total for the buses, and that's to help them with any paper towels, cleaning supplies, different things. So it's not much, but it's something that helps them keep the bus in order. So today I'd like to recommend the action that the Board of Education approves the bus contracts as outlined on the list provided by staff. So are there any questions?
No? Mrs. Weaver?
Okay, the replacements that are getting a new 6-year contract, now, are the replacements for a contractor that has had a bus and now it's like no longer in service and they bought a new one? Or is this like anyone that comes in that has a bus and has put out a bid for a contract? Or
Yeah, so the replacements are buses that, well, let me go back, I guess. In the state of Maryland, buses have a 15-year life cycle. We run them on a 12-year life cycle with 3 years as a spare bus. So we run 2 6-year contracts, and at the end of the second 6-year contract, or 12 years, we replace the bus and they come back. So the replacements are contractors that have had the bus, that's the bus they had for 12 years, and it's reached the end of the 12 years, and now they're buying a new bus to start over another 12 years.
all right, thank you.
Cycle.
No questions.
I have no questions, thank you. Mrs. Washington?
Have you considered the replacement buses with air conditioning? Are our field trip buses air conditioned?
Yeah, right now, what we have in the formula, the way it's set up is, in our specs, all special needs buses are mandated to have air conditioning. All regular route buses, we provide a stipend as an option to get air conditioning on them. So I will tell you that we have it as an option because the contractors have contended some of the maintenance items with that. However, every bus pretty much that's coming in is coming in with air conditioning. So we are paying the stipend to them, and almost every bus is having it, new bus that's coming in. The older buses, they don't have them, and it is a pretty large expense to get them put on. So most of the older buses don't, but the new buses that are coming in, almost every bus is coming in with air conditioning now.
I think that's great. And field trip buses, are they air conditioned, for example, when the students go to Washington, D.C. or a great distance in the summer? Are those buses air conditioned? Because they are really needed when it's, up in the high 90s and students are on a bus going on a field trip to Washington, D.C. or a long distance on the bus. That could be very uncomfortable.
It all depends. It's not a guarantee. It's an air-conditioned bus. During the summer programs, the contractors and the buses that are selected have to be air-conditioned. So during the summer programs now, all the buses are air-conditioned. During the regular school year, it all depends on the contractor and the buses that are used for the service. I mean, most of the contractors, the couple contractors that run our field trips, their buses they have air-conditioned buses, but if a school's taking 10 buses to a location, it's highly probable that not all 10 will be air-conditioned because they just don't have it. Our new buses that were approved last year, they are air-conditioned coming in. So if we're running field trips, pretty much they'll be on an air-conditioned bus. So it's most of them do have it, but it's not a guarantee that they will have it.
I've been on 3 field trips to DC, and our buses have been air conditioned. So I think it's up to the school to contract, to find like a field trip bus. Mm-hmm. And most of the schools, if they're going to DC,
they're gonna make the request
they put the request in
the
for an air conditioned bus. Like if you're going to Blue Crabs, no, but if you're going up there, typically yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. I asked because I saw some students and they were going on a field trip and it was in the high 90s and they were saying it was so hot on the school. It's going to be so hot on the school bus. That's why I asked the question. But we're moving in that direction, and I think it's a good thing because we as adults would be very uncomfortable in a car without air conditioning going so far. And you have 66 kids on a school bus, no air conditioning, that could be torturous. So thanks. So we're moving in that direction, and that's very good.
I think we are going to discuss with the contractors this fall about making that a required, instead of an optional spec, making it a standard required spec in their buses. They're all doing it anyway at this point, so might as well, because down the road you'd hate to have 50 buses that have air conditioning and the one contractor that doesn't get it. All of a sudden you don't have that bus out there with it. And so I think we're looking at doing that this fall.
Said, roll down those windows, stick your heads out and have the bus just floor it.
Some students have health issues, and it's difficult for them. It's just really uncomfortable, which can result in behavior problems on the bus. If you're hot and sweaty and somebody's touching you, it's just very uncomfortable. But I appreciate the work you're doing. You're doing a good job, and the contractors, to keep our students comfortable and safe, and that helps with discipline and other issues on the bus. So, thanks.
I will say that we also, at one of the conventions that happened last year, the school bus of the future that was put out by one of the bus manufacturers had no windows that could go up and down because their thought was in the future, but school buses will be more like coach buses that don't have windows that are just standard. Buses, windows that stay up all the time, and you have air conditioning on the buses. So it's that's their thought about where things were heading because of issues with windows and issues with things being thrown out windows and yelling out windows and other safety issues that their concept was in the future buses will go away from having windows that go up and down.
Thank you.
Mrs. Allen?
And I would imagine that given how few companies there are that manufacture school buses, that there will be a lot of control over that. I don't have any questions about what you've presented, but I would just like you to briefly talk about the fact that with first day of school coming up, that our buses go on practice runs because the first year we did that, that really surprised me when a bus I was like, wait a minute, what day is it?
Well,
Did I miss
right.
something?
Well, sure. So we have I will say, we have buses that have been running all summer for the summer programs, for our out-of-county schools, and doing other items. We've had our bus inspections last week and this week. Tomorrow's our last day of bus inspections. And then we'll be transitioning over to getting ready for the regular routes. Today the charter school started, so we have buses out running for the charter school. And then on Monday, August 22nd, the rest of the fleet will go out and do their practice runs, and they'll be pretending, running their routes as students are practicing. The students are entering their bus and exiting their bus, and so they'll be out in the roads with imaginary students and getting ready for Wednesday, the 24th, when
It all becomes real.
everything goes and we start to roll.
And all the buses are late because all the parents are taking pictures.
And then
At
they're
least in the
sending them to
elementary
us, and we're
school.
posting them on our Facebook, and,
That's
really,
right.
and everybody loves to see
You are
them.
causing the bus delays.
We're making memories, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
what it really
All right.
is.
Kodak, all
Yeah,
right.
you read my mind. You and Kodak. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. It does help people understand, number one, what's going on that Monday when this happens, but also it helps folks start to have an understanding of the impact that the bus will have on their particular route of travel. And so stand by. It's coming.
How many buses will be on the road? About 188?
Well, we have, it's actually about 200 buses that we have out on the road that are running in locally and out of county, going up to schools.
And you also put out signs on the road to
Usually,
forewarn citizens and motorists that buses will be on the road and traffic patterns.
yeah, we have great partners with the sheriff's office and the county government, and they put out road signs to warn motorists that the school buses will be out. So please plan accordingly, your time and your schedule, because those can cause delays if you're not anticipating them, and you just have to be expecting the buses to be stopping and be prepared to stop to be safe for our kids.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much.
You have a very important role. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So-
I motion for this action item, please.
I move that the Board of Education approve the bus contracts as outlined on the list provided by staff.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Okay, we have no informational items. Few reminders, the open house schedule is up on the web.
Posted online.
The bus stop schedule is on the web.
And the bus stop locator and the
locator.
school locator is available now. Parents want to go on and try to
Right,
find their bus stop.
right. We've got a school supply drive and immunizations. Anyone
All the
who,
registration information,
Right.
www.smcps.org. All
Everything you
questions
need
will
to
be answered there.
that's right. All right, and with that, the next board meeting will be on Wednesday, August 31st, 1 week after the start of school at 6 p.m. And with that, we are adjourned.
Wait it.